Good evening, everybody. This is Harris. This is Charles with the Ravori Sports Podcast. Like and subscribe to all of our social media content. If you are watching this here, so thank you for watching us on YouTube, Twitch, or X. So we got a very special guest for everyone today. Check it out here. The leader of the Flock Rundown, Ryan, from the Flock Rundown, the channel, one of the largest now Ravens channels, right? I would say like over where you like 5,000 subscribers now, 5,500 the last I saw here.
Yeah, what's up, Charles? Thanks for having me, man. Yeah, a little over 5K. I don't think I'm the largest, but getting there. We're going.
You're definitely not the biggest yet. Not bigger than Engraven and 410.
Yeah.
You're definitely on the path, considering how fact that you've been a little not nearly as long as some of those guys, right? I mean, so
yeah, 2 years.
Congratulations on all your success there. We're gonna talk to Ryan. He was good enough to take his time, and we're gonna talk a little Ravens football here on the Super Bowl weekend. So we're gonna go over a couple of things. It has been quite a week in sports. We had the craziest trade, I think, in NBA history.
Yeah.
I thought that was the dumbest trade I ever saw
for Dallas. Yeah.
For Dallas. I mean, check out a Mavs stream. They're furious, and they are.
I'd be too. I mean it's absolute insanity. I had to like double check. I was like, is this all that's in the trade? Like there's not more added to this. This is it. It's basically AD.
Right. I use the wrestling reference, like when the Undertaker. I don't know if you watch wrestling, but remember when the Undertaker lost to Brock Lesnar in the end of the streak? You watched the trim, like people's eyes was like shocked, like even after the match, like we saw it, but we still couldn't believe it. That's what that was, that trade. Yeah, like that was weird. Let's talk a little football. Let's start with the game in Buffalo. Ravens didn't happen for us. I do feel oddly a little less angry than I did last year. I think it just wasn't our day. The big observation that I had, Ryan, and I want to hear your thought on this, is do we play? I don't think Lamar plays well in cold weather. It's just, that's a thing. That's the only time I ever see him have bad games is when it's in January. What are your thoughts about what happened on the game in Buffalo and your biggest overall takeaway?
Pain, man. Pain again. I weirdly didn't feel as gutted as last year, but I think that's because I'm like numb. I'm getting more numb to like letting us down a little bit in the playoffs. I don't know if it was the cold. I think that might have definitely been like a shock factor at first, but I mean, I think after those couple early mistakes, Lamar played pretty good. So which proves kind of like he can play in the cold if needed. I just think that turnovers killed us. Like we're having too many mistakes in the biggest moment. And it's such a weird mental thing. It's not like something you could just like pinpoint like, oh, this needs fixed next year in the divisional round or the AFC championship. Like this one thing will get us over the hump. It's just like, we just dropped the ball, you know what I mean? And it's frustrating. So I mean, that was one of our worst played games this season, and it came at an awful time. I didn't think Buffalo, I mean, credit to Buffalo obviously for winning, but I didn't think that they did anything to really like put their will on us and beat us. You know what I mean? Like it just felt like one of those games where we made every mistake imaginable, especially early in the game. Obviously Andrews with some costly mistakes late in the game, but I mean, 2 turnovers in the first half. We're down 21-10 at halftime. We win the second half. So like, we can't be in that hole. It's the playoffs. Like you just can't make that mistakes. Things tighten up. Playoffs always are a lot harder. And I just don't think there's much room for error. Maybe one turnover you can get away with. I mean, we only lost by 2 when we lost the turnover battle 3-0. Maybe if we only had one mistake, we could have still got away with it. But 3 mistakes and Buffalo holds on to the ball the entire game. I think that's my biggest takeaway is that we fumbled the game away to Buffalo, literally and figuratively. So
I look, you outrush Buffalo. I think in the game, I think all the stats point to the Ravens.
Yeah.
And I think Buffalo just didn't make those key mistakes like we made. I don't feel like we got out-coached, outplayed, out anything. I did the reference on the channel of the movie Any Given Sunday, game of inches. Every break of the game, every step, every inch, fight for that inch, and the inches just weren't there. Fumble, drop. Andrews, I've never say Andrews play a game that bad. Ever.
Nope.
Andrews has never looked like that in his whole career. And it's unfortunate that what do you do in the offseason? I don't know what is there to be done.
I don't think you change much. I mean, he's obviously like going to have some mental demons to fight after that. So like he's going to probably have to find the strength to just overcome and like ignore it because that's like really the only thing you can do. You just got to show up, probably take a little break from like football stuff and then just show up ready for the offseason to attack it. I think he works out with like his brother and stuff, and I'm sure they'll just be out there running routes and he'll just be doing what he does and kind of using every time he's out there working out each day, that couple-hour window, he's just got that game, those mistakes playing in his mind. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, like, use it as fuel. Use it as fuel to carry a strong offseason, one of his strongest off seasons he's ever had. I think that's the only way to attack it and rebound is just be better.
I think Andrews, is going to be fine. I am not worried about in the long view him at all. I don't think they're going to take him. I don't think he's going to take a pay cut. I don't think the Ravens.
So we're paying him $17 million.
Yeah.
Oof.
I don't think they view it at all. I think they may ask for him to do a restructure and that after
the 1 year or the extension though. See, like there's two different. Like, are they restructuring this final year or do they give him a 2-year extension and then they can spread this cap hit out? And by pay cut, I mean like his extension money numbers could be like 12 million, 15 million instead of like going up. I don't feel like he's making 17 mil this year. Is he going to ask like for his next contract to be like 20? It's not worth that probably. You know what I mean? Like we're going to have to like weigh that. But
I think even in spite of what happened, everybody would love to have Mark Andrews on their football.
Yeah, 100%. And likely the whole tight end room.
I don't think there's any hesitation on the Ravens' part as well. I do think there's some chance they move him. I do think if somebody blows him away with Likely or Andrews, there's your answer. We'll just go with one or the other. I don't think they feel bad about either guy. I like Andrews to stay. I'm not. I think Likely is. I think he's unique. I kind of compare him to Frank Wycheck, Tennessee Titans. Former Maryland. He's like an H-back. He's not really a fullback. He's not really a tight end. So I think Andrews, you can use him in any way possible. But he's getting older, so it's a good problem to have. I think.
No,
it
is.
Two talented tight ends.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the GOAT, Justin Tucker here. Does he play? Let's almost skip to the end here. Has he played his last game as a Raven?
I mean, my gut is telling me yes, if I'm being honest. Now that's pending like more fact checking and investigation. I'm not like trying to say like this guy's guilty 100%. We don't know. No one knows. Nobody knows but him and possibly the victims. Like you don't know for sure. All we have right now is this Baltimore Banner story, which they appear to have done a thorough investigation. Like it doesn't seem to be BS. I highly doubt that they're just making this up for clout, but you never know. You know what I mean? It is the only source that we have right now. So if anything in there is true, absolutely he's played his last down as a Raven, and it was not the best way to go out.
I don't think they want to cut him.
Well,
I don't think that I don't think they want to get rid of him. I don't think they want to get rid of him. With that, I'm kind of in there with you. I don't think, and not to go too far with the football here, he wasn't good last year. He wasn't good. I mean, I would have probably cut Justin Tucker the way he played at the end. I mean, that was not what we've been seeing.
He lost us at the end. He lost us 2 games himself.
Yeah. I mean, he was straight shanking stuff, I think, in one of those games. We've never seen that for him. Obviously, there's no place for this if this is true at all. I don't want to get too lewd here, but look, you go into those places. I'm a little bit older than you, had some – don't do that anymore. I've been married a long time, but gentlemen's clubs, massage parlors, do you know how big a jerk you need to be to get thrown out?
Yeah, of multiple places. Yeah,
like being a jerk at a gentleman's club,
and he's got money. They would want his business.
Yeah, exactly. He's rich. Like, he's not like me. You know,
it's a good look.
It's so. It's unfortunate if this true. I'm hoping, like all the Ravens fans, that this is untrue. That we could just move past this. But I'm agreeing with you, Ryan. Like, there's a lot of detail in there.
Yeah.
I mean, this was a lengthy. They're still talking. I mean, there's 3 more women that came out. There's this recording. I saw the video. Great video you did. I mean, it was. This is a mess. Like, this is not what we need here. I don't think the Ravens have much tolerance for this stuff either. I mean, this is
no, and especially it's getting talked about even on like national media. Like, it's not just a local story anymore. You know what I mean? Thirst Take's talking about it. Pat McAfee's talking about it. Like, it's the story's out there. It's not going away. So that's I just feel like unless there's like some kind of concrete proof, like, oh, the Baltimore Banner's lying about all this, or like this is all fraudulent, then I just feel like the Ravens are going to move on, because even if you don't get the nitty gritty detailed proof, how do you roll into next season like with Tucker out there like nothing happens? Like, I mean, everybody's going to be talking. The internet's going to be like filled with memes of like, it's just not a good look. Like, and I mean, we shouldn't make football decisions off of that, but it's a business too, and teams do make business decisions, and you are hurting your business by keeping someone like that, because a lot of people believe this.
Yeah. I mean, we weren't there. We don't know what happened with these women. Just hoping for the best for everybody here. But I doubt he's playing another game as a Raven. And I haven't released my mock draft yet, but I was looking at kickers. Like,
I
was like,
yeah.
I don't think there's a replacing a Justin Tucker in his prime. I mean, I don't think there's any such thing.
Maybe last year, but no, not prime Justin Tucker, not his best. No, we can't replace his best.
I don't think there's any such thing. One more thing before we get to the other stuff, like Ronnie Stanley, watching your content, you seem to think that Stanley was going to stay. I was always in the camp that he's gone. Like, I don't think that you kind of shifted now. But, I mean, What do you think happens on the line? I didn't think the line was good despite of the better offense he had. I think that's the weakest spot on the team.
Yeah, I mean, the line is one of the weakest spots on the team, no doubt. I did originally, because of how weak the line was, I thought Stanley was one of the strengths. Like, he was one of our most consistent linemen. He wasn't like the guard play, you know what I mean? Like, at least Stanley like held down. So originally, as soon as the season started, I'm looking at the free agent list without like thinking thoroughly about cap numbers, and I'm just like literally looking at the list, and I'm like, oh, we got to re-sign Ronnie. Like, we got to find a way to re-sign Ronnie, because I want Ronnie there, and I still want Ronnie there. But now I'm seeing that he's top 5 free agent in the NFL. He's projected to make $20+ million a year. We have $6 million in cap room right now. Roger Rosengarten is a natural left tackle. We gotta remember that. Like, he's been playing out of position at right tackle his last year of college and this year for us. He's a natural left tackle. So that slide over there, to me, is starting to make a lot more sense. I'm not saying that's exactly what the Ravens are going to do, but I think that we could move him over to left tackle, and then we're going to let Ronnie go sign and get a bag with somebody. So just because it comes down to financial decisions, I do want Ronnie, but I thought he'd be a lot cheaper, and I don't know why I thought that. And then I'm like looking at $20+ million, and I'm like, I mean, there's just no way. He's 31. He's got a crazy injury history. I don't know how we pay $20+ million right now when we have $6 million. I know we're going to restructure and make some moves to clear cap, but I mean, we're probably not in a position to be paying an older lineman $20+ million a year and multiple years. So I don't think he'll be back. I do want Ronnie back though. I do love Ronnie. I think he's a great player, man. I just think that we're gonna have to go a different route. Probably go younger, cheaper.
There's a dearth, I think, of offensive linemen, period. Trey Smith is out there. I mean, he's a guard, can't see. But you look at the Chefs going into the Super Bowl, both of their tackles were suspect. I mean, they're starting Joe Thuney, I think, at left tackle because both of their tackles have been bad all year long. So there's a lot of teams struggling with tackle. And it's a shame with Ronnie because this is probably, you're right, he needed to be good. I think this was the best season he's had in the last 3-4 years. He finally, again, looked like the guy we've been waiting for since the injury. And he's probably going to take that and go somewhere else as well. I got all the confidence in the world in Roger Rosengarten.
Me too.
He had right tackle, and I think you said it. The Niners used to do that with Steve Young. They put their best tackle at right tackle because that's the blind side for the quarterback. So I think Rosengarten was fantastic all year long. But I think the line needs to be addressed early in the draft. Both guards.
Yep, I agree. I think I do think they're going to go with Falele again, though, at right guard. For better or worse, I do think they're going there. I do. I'm not saying I agree with it, but I'm just saying I think. See, McCary, we at least we've seen him. He's not new. Like Falele got thrusted into a premier role essentially that he has never played before last year. McCary has started for us in past games, not consistently for a whole season, but he's came in multiple times over the years. So we've got a taste of him. Now we've seen him start for most of the year. I don't think he's a starter. I mean, I love McCary, but he needs to be if we do re-sign him, he needs to go back to the 6-man role where he fills in wherever needed if we got some serious injuries. But I think we need a new left guard entirely unless Voorhees takes some big leap. But I don't love what I'm seeing or what I saw from Falele, McCary, or Voorhees last year, to be honest with you. But I do have really high standards. I've been pretty hard on Falele, and a lot of people love his improvement. But
no, there was no improvement from Falele.
It got better than at least the first couple. That Raiders game was bad.
He got what they started doing is they started scheming it better. Didn't you notice how much Ricard was on his side?
Yeah.
They started running, and I noticed they started running left side a lot. So they just knew it was a weakness, so they just kind of schemed it better. They gave him more help. Ben Cleveland, I think, you talking about a guy that's never going to play for the Ravens again. Ben Cleveland, no. He should fly out of here.
Well, he's a free agent, so I mean, yeah, I would imagine
there's a 0% he's going to play.
I agree. He's been in the doghouse for years.
I don't know what the reason is.
It's got to be some practice related something, man. Because every time I've heard Harbaugh talk about it, and I don't mean that he's doing anything egregious. I just mean way back at some point he wasn't trying hard enough, and it rubbed everyone or the coaches the wrong way or Harbaugh the wrong way. Because every time he spoke on it, he's just Ben knows what he needs to do to play. You know what I mean? And it just, to me, reading between the lines, I was just he don't like his work ethic. Ben even might play well in the preseason or play well and get thrown into a game, but if you ain't practicing hard on the Ravens, I feel like Harbaugh is just nah, you don't deserve it.
Jeff Drebeck said he'd never even played the guard spot.
Right, at practice, that is true. They were running him at backup center, and
they were never. Yeah, they never even put him in. So
this year though. But I'm saying in the past years, because Ben Cleveland's been here for some years, I think he pissed Harbaugh off at some point. You know what I mean? Not this season, but in the past, so that Harbaugh's not even really giving him good looks.
I'm going to move on to you in a second, but it's kind of the same thing with Deontay Johnson. I said, If you don't want him, then get rid of him, right? Why is Ben Cleveland still here if you're just going to sit him on the bench? And the same thing with Deontay Johnson. You're so worried about the pick. He's all pissed off because he's not playing.
Yeah.
Why do that if you don't want him?
Yeah. No, I agree. I think the Deontay one, there was it was even worse because he I think his emotions boiled over into it. You know what I mean? Cleveland's probably just pretty chill about it, so it doesn't make a big storm. But like Deontay obviously went out in flames with Baltimore, and then with the Texans too, same scenario. So yeah, but yeah, I agree. Either way, like we should play guys that are here. I don't think Cleveland will be back, and Deontay Johnson's definitely not getting re-signed.
All right. So I want to introduce the audience to you a little bit here. We talked Ravens. I know you're Ravens, obviously, Ravens content creator. But we were just talking about before it started how good your production is of
Thanks,
the
man.
content. I mean, I noticed that from the very beginning, like the music and everything that you do. I would have thought, and I didn't know, and I'm not either, but that you have. What type of training did you have for like what you're doing as far as the content? Why don't you tell the people about that?
Yeah, no formal training, just like self-experience, like self-taught or like taught on YouTube and how to edit. And I've been editing stuff like on iMovie when I was like 11, 12. I go out in the driveway and I shoot basketball a lot. So I'd be out there shooting basketball, set up it was a terrible camera back then, but I had a little camera, and then I'd film myself shooting, and then I'd go inside and make like a little highlight tape and editing. And I just kind of was always into editing. And then I've always wrote and recorded music as well. And just like multiple different genres across the board. So the intro song is called I Left the Party by Rye August, which is me, same thing. So the intro to the channel is more of a modern song, but I've been making music since I was like 8 on a little karaoke machine, and started writing when I was 8 years old, like writing poetry and stuff. And I've wrote literally every year to now, and I'm 31. So I think just making music videos, I made all my own music videos back in the day, and then just kind of evolved. When you've been doing something for 20 years, you just it's just natural. And so, no formal training, but like a lot of experience. They talk about like 10,000 hours or whatever. Like I'm 20 years deep in like editing and production, I guess. So I don't know. I just made sure I had a nice camera, the mic, and a little cool background or whatever. And then like the rest is just kind of me editing and putting my personality into it and trying to push the envelope like creatively. Cause like I love all the Ravens shows. And when I came into the space, I was like, all right, I can't just like talk. I mean, I can because everyone's unique, but like I wanted to add more of a personal touch to it and push the envelope a little bit creatively. So I feel like I've been trying to edit and throw my personality into it as well as just talking about the team.
Okay. All right. I got you. So how did you meet Ray Lewis? I know everybody asked you that question, I'm sure, but how did you meet Ray Lewis in terms of for the intro? Because that's what got me like watching your channel, like the intro, the Ray Lewis intro is like that.
Yeah, it's really not even that juicy of a story. I didn't meet it. I've never met him in person, but I just reached out like years ago before I even started the channel at all. And I was like, I pitched him the idea of like, hey, I'm going to start this channel, or I want to start this channel. And was wondering if you could do the intro, just say something like this. But he went off on his own minute tangent that was like nothing that I gave him to say, which was amazing though. You know what I mean? And like he threw my name
than I was expecting.
He threw my name. He threw my name in there and like shouted the channel out multiple times. And I used to let the whole intro play. So like if you watched years ago, like it just every episode started with like the Ray intro because I thought it was so cool, And then I started seeing a lot of comments as I guess people kept coming back and watching videos, and they were like, hey, I'm tired of listening to this like 45-second intro. Just like get into it. So then I took that advice and was like, all right, let me figure out a way to shorten this to make this more like to the point right away so that there's like actual intro. So now I kind of like I come on for 10 seconds or whatever and say everything I'm talking about and then drop like an edited short version of the Ray intro. And then I let the majority like the whole intro kind of play on the outro now. So I've been switching it up quite a bit. So you don't see like as much of it. People probably don't really know like everything he said, but yeah, it's super cool, man. I'm grateful for it. I start every episode after he talks with appreciate you, Ray, because I'm forever grateful for him even doing that.
Yeah, when I met Cal Ripken, me and my wife, that was like one of the biggest days I can remember. As far as I was just having a bad couple weeks at work or whatever, and they gave me here locally, I live in Virginia, and they gave me they have this sports breakfast here. They have athletes, older athletes, and they had Cal Ripken. How cool is that? I'm from Baltimore, originally from Baltimore. Yeah. And Cal Ripken shows up. Me and my wife, they take a pic. They were ending the line with the pictures. They got it. It was on. You would think I know Cal Ripken, right? I met him for like 30 seconds. Yeah. The way everybody was acting.
No, that's awesome.
I understand. Ray Lewis, the greatest inside linebacker of all time.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I mean, there's obviously some debatable guys you can talk about, like Mike Singletary, legendary, you know what I mean? Or like even more modern, like Patrick Willis's and stuff like that. But nothing compares to Ray, especially, I don't even like, I've been obsessed with the NFL my whole life, but I will admit, like, obviously there's some bias in there, you know what I mean? I grew up in Maryland and I'm a diehard Ravens fan. Was going to Ravens games and watching Ray when I was like 6 years old and on. So I have some bias, but no, I think even with bias removed, he's the greatest linebacker of all time.
What do you want to do with your channel going forward? What's the next thing that you want to? Don't give away anything if you have like anything planned or anything you want to announce, but just a general. Give the people out there, all the people that watch you, all your viewers, like what's next? What's something that you want to go in the long term?
Yeah, I just want to stay consistent, man. I think keep pushing the envelope. I try every single episode. Some episodes are obviously less detailed or less edited than others, just depending on the topic or whatever's going on. But like trying to be different than like anything else going on in the Ravens community. Like we're all talking about similar topics, but I want like, the Flock Rundown to just separate itself in a different lane. Like, oh, I get this value over there that I just can't get anywhere else. And other people bring different value that they can't get with my channel. And I just want to keep showing up. You know what I mean? It's a grind. Like people don't really realize that like it's hours.
What are you telling, man?
It's hours a day. And like there's this pull sometimes in the morning where you're like, oh, I'm just like, I'm not feeling it today. Or like whatever. You just got to keep showing up though. So like, I think, that's really what is coming is like a lot. And I got the TikTok growing now, the Instagram growing. I repurpose all the episodes into like short form content. And it's not just like a clip from the episode. It's like repurposed for it. It's fully edited and like every topic has its own thing. So trying to grow like the TikTok and stuff, really like a way to touch more people over there and kind of advertise the YouTube if they want to come over to long form or whatever. So growing the shorts and just being super consistent. I do want to start going live more too. I honestly never go live and create like
I've seen you once before.
Yeah. I think season, like I tried it a few times, but like now I want to do it in like a different way. Like I want to have like maybe, and I gotta still think this through, so it's not like some announcement or anything, but like I want to like have maybe like a segment a day a week where I go live one night or whatever and like can bring people on. Because live's a way easier opportunity to bring people on, instead of just trying to like edit it all up and everything. It's nicer conversating on a live. I think live's like a different feel. It's longer. You kind of get your point out a little more. It's not just like chop to the point. Yeah. So I think I'd love to go live like once a week, but I just want to do it in like I don't know. Maybe I'm just like overthinking it, but I want to do it in like a cool way and not just like have nothing to talk about. But I think it's a way to, interact with the community more. So yeah, long term, just show up, bring value, and I'll be here.
And I do want to ask, I'm asking during this series about media a little bit. Where do you think we're going in the media? You're really killing the game right now. I'm a little bit older than you, okay? People used to make fun of me when I was little reading the newspaper, right? And read my sports section every Sunday because they had all the stats. What's the evolution like now? Is ESPN? I kind of think those things are done. And no disrespect. I still have ESPN. I still had, but where do you think we're going in the next in the next few years as we go forward in media?
Yeah, in the next few years, I think we are going to continue to see the decline of cable and like people watching things like on TV. So what you're talking about, like networks, I think will evolve though. I don't think like ESPN goes away, I just think the way that we used to turn on the ESPN channel and watch it there is going to go away. And they're going to have everything segmented out on YouTube or whatever platforms in the future. It might not always be YouTube. There might be a different platform that comes along and it's like, no, this is the place to be. So wherever that is, I still think these legacy networks are going to kind of dominate, at least initially. But I think it's going to be this open format where a lot of people like us get more of a platform and can build a community because people like the local media too. Like watching something on ESPN, you're never, ever going to get the deep dive of a team like you would listening to us that are watching like every single little detail. I'm reading the Ravens news every single day. Like I don't know what's going on with other teams quite like I know what's going on with the Ravens. So I think that there'll be a lot more smaller channels and businesses that rise and thrive in this digital space online. And that's happening right now. I just think it's going that the cable decline is going to get sharper and sharper, especially as people like age out of it. You know what I mean? I don't want to be like dark, but I'm just saying,
No, that's absolutely right.
you know what I mean? So like because younger people, I don't think watch cable like that. It is
I have a daughter, 17 years old, 13 years old. They have no idea what NBC is.
Yeah,
no
that's
idea.
what I'm saying.
I mean,
like,
literally, I'm not being funny for saying that. They have no idea what it is. Do you still like ESPN or FS1 or any of that stuff at all? Do you have any like FS1 is just I think their daytime is just awful now. Like without undisputed. I mean, I have First Take is still in PTI, but like I said, that's just because I've always done that. Like, but yeah, I don't.
Yeah, no, that's what it is for me a little bit. It's I've always watched that because like I'm 31, so I'm not like super young, but like I'm not old. So I think I'm in like the middle of I did watch cable my whole childhood, like First Take and places like that were like I would watch Sports Center. Like that was the only place to really consume, and or at least the go-to place. So I do have that connection to it. So I think I'm naturally drawn, and I think that's why they still get a lot of views and have a lot of success, even on places like YouTube. They clip up segments of their TV show and put it on YouTube and are getting hundreds of thousands, millions of views. That's incredible money. You know what I mean? So like they're pumping money still. And I think that's because people know them. It's just like a comfortability thing. But when it comes to knowledge or like detailed information, that is not the place to go. None of those shows are the place to go. It's more of like entertainment for like just barbershop sports banter. Like I really don't.
I'm surprised you said that. None of them are.
Name one.
I'm just asking.
I get tidbits out of things, but I don't watch any of those bigger shows. But maybe you can name one that I'm just not thinking of.
Like Lasky gets a lot of flack, but I would say he's a pretty sharp guy.
Like NFL Live and like them breaking down some. Yeah, okay, yeah. There's some value in between. I was just kind of vaguely talking about like ESPN as a whole and like a lot of the shows like First Take and stuff. But like, yeah, okay, yeah. I'm not saying that every single segment or show has no value. I'm just saying that I don't go to that to get a lot of information anymore like I used to. I think I'm only drawn to it because I'm familiar with those faces, and I'd rather just kind of like do my own research and watch other content creators and people that are really dived in. But yeah, I do agree. I do watch NFL Live and like watch them break down a play or something and learn something for sure. Yeah, no doubt. I just I think the overall idea of it though is crumbling.
Oh, I don't think there's any question about it. And I think it's funny how you saw for years, and I don't know how many times you tried to get a job like I did in old media and everything, the attitudes that some of those guys would have about, where the media, blah, 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 where the true media and all this other stuff. Now you see them, they're on YouTube,
Oh, wow. Okay.
Shannon Sharp's got a channel. Stephen A's got a channel. You see a lot of those CNN guys and Don Lemon, they're the Whitlock, Stephen A, the YouTube beefing. And I think the evolution is like this, us here today. I think that's what you're going to keep seeing as well. One more thing, Ryan, I'm going to go ahead and I thank you very much again for doing this.
No doubt, man. Thanks for having me.
Pleasantly surprised that you took the time to share with us as well. Next season, the Ravens, 2025, Super Bowl. Any chance of it? I mean, we're still a little early here, but the perception of Lamar and Harbaugh, how do you think that is? Super Bowl or bust, or you think it'll be easier on them? What do you think that's going to be like going into next year for them, the expectation of the team? Very early, pre-draft, etc.
Yeah. I think it's the same as last year, man. Yeah, it is Super Bowl or bust. It's not like it's bust, though. Like, we obviously still, everyone has a great time and enjoys a million moments throughout a season. Like, every season's its own journey. You know, I don't want to say, like, this season's a failure and irrelevant, and I enjoyed nothing about it. Like, that's not fair. That's never how it goes, right? So, like, but technically, when it comes to like expectations, yeah, it's Super Bowl or bust. Same with this year. I don't think we came into this year not expecting to go to the Super Bowl. And with the team that we had, we should have expected to go to the Super Bowl. Even, you know, after we beat the Steelers in the wild card round, like, I'm expecting to go to the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like, we all felt like this team's good enough. And I don't think that changes at all. You know, I don't think, unless there's some catastrophic injury or something like along those lines, then yeah, that can derail anything. But I mean, I think preseason and into this season, the expectation is that we're going to win a Super Bowl. But I do think there's still pressure, because you're going to hear that same narrative all year long, and we're just going to have to block it out. Like, Lamar can't get it done in the big moments. He's not going to win a Super Bowl, you know. And the Harbaugh flack is mainly from the Ravens fan base. I don't hear a lot of Harbaugh hate from any other fan. A lot of it is coming from internal, because we're frustrated because he's been here for so long and we're not winning more Super Bowls. And I think we're just like, we need more. And some of his game management decisions and things like that are obviously, you know, need improved. So I understand. I would want to make a change, but
I want to say that Harbaugh, as much as people want to run out of town, was better this year. I thought he adjusted on offense, because I was concerned, like, hey, look, didn't feature a receiver, featured Zay Flowers. I mean, they were actually getting the ball early in drives. Never seen a John Harbaugh team do that. Worried about, he really doesn't like bell cow, getting the ball to Derrick Henry, because it's Derrick Henry, which should be obvious. But he was really, so there was some evolution there as well. How much longer do you think we get, real quick, with Harbaugh? Is he at the end? What would you say, 1 or 2 more years? I think he stays as long as Lamar stays.
It depends. Yeah, I think he's not going anywhere anytime soon. This is actually his final year on the deal. So we're going to find out soon, because if they usually don't let him play out a final year. So I think if they let him play, if Steve Bisciotti's like, yeah, play out your final year, then like they could be contemplating a change next year. But if he gets that extension like he always does in the offseason heading into that final year, then there's no doubt he's here a couple more years. And we're signing all the coaches that he's been friends with and then has had a great background with, and Dean Pease and Chuck Pagano now coming on board. These are Harbaugh guys, man. Like they came up with the focus. So like it's not going anywhere this year for sure. If we lose and he's not extended next year, I think there's a real chance of something like that. I think this extension will be super telling how the ownership like patience is. You know what I mean? Like if they extend him, obviously he's here until he doesn't want to be here, to be honest with you. But if they don't extend him, I think there's some heat, you know. But I honestly, if I had to guess, my gut feeling is he's here as long as he wants to be here until it like really burns down, until we're having like awful seasons.
I think he stays until Lamar's here. I think it's the same with Mahomes and Andy Reid. I think Andy Reid would have already retired, but why? Yeah, but why would he retire? He's in the Super Bowl. I mean, unless it is a health issue of some kind with those guys.
I could see him moving to like a Ravens front office role to like be a higher advisor, though. He's a great CEO, man. Like, you know what I mean? A guy, when it comes to like X's and O's, he's not the guy. But when it comes to getting the right coordinator or getting the right fit here and here and here, I think he does a great job of that. So I wouldn't be surprised if he did want to move on, or if the organization grew impatient, maybe they switch him over to some kind of advisory role in the front office, and then we promote a guy within. You never know. Like a couple years down the line, could be a guy like Zach Orr or something. Like you just never know. Somebody within, I think would make sense.
Kind of like what Ozzy's doing now. You know, Ozzy, people don't understand. Ozzy's still playing a big role for the Ravens. He's no longer out front anymore, but he's there a lot. He was helped brokering the Lamar thing a few years ago when the stuff kind of broke down. Ozzy was there, and I could absolutely see John Harbaugh in a similar type role, especially if Ozzy is finally really ready to retire at some point. Say hi. There you go. It's my daughter there. Tell the people where we can find you, Ryan.
Flock Rundown. Yeah, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcast, wherever you watch or listen to stuff, man. Flock Rundown.
All right. Well, Ryan, thank you for taking the time to meet with us today here as well. Thank you very much for joining us here on our very special Ravori Sports Podcast for fans like me. Definitely like and subscribe. Enjoy the Super Bowl, everybody, in our sports media series. Thank you, Ryan, for joining us, and you guys have a great rest of your day.